Shin splints. This is a biggie, especially for beginner runners. Hey guys, it's Steph, and I'm talking today about running injuries. A little bit about me, for those of you who maybe don't know me. I am a physical therapist who specializes in working with runners. I have for many years, and I'm also an online run coach. And so my passion is helping especially beginner runners go from beginner to beyond without getting hurt. Guys, shin splints. This is a biggie, especially for beginner runners. Again, I felt it too. It's very painful. It feels like your tissue is just ripping right off your bone, and it's extremely uncomfortable. I will say one of the biggest reasons that we see this and the next one happen is just doing too much too fast. Again, that's why it happens in runners, which is great. You guys are super excited. You want to get going, but you do too much too quick, and then you end up with shin splints. If your body is not used to that pounding, especially if you're heel striking and then your foot drops, well, all these muscles on the front of your shin have to slow down that drop of your foot when you land. And if they're not used to it or they're not conditioned for it, they're going to start to get irritated and start to pull on the bone and cause irritation. So another issue, if your arch is dropping too much, because then again, all the structures on the front of the foot and ankle and shin have to help to stabilize that. They're overworking because they're not in shape, and then you're pushing them and all that stuff. So if your calf muscles are not in shape enough, that can start to cause issues. If your calves are tight and your shin is, and the front of your shin is weak, they're working against each other. And so then something's going to give. The smaller, weaker muscle is typically the one that gives, and that's the muscles in the shin. So be careful with training. Make sure you're easing into it. You want to make sure that you're not dealing with like a stretch reaction or a fracture. And I just put down the symptoms of that. So if you're point tender in one specific spot, typically it's a pretty localized spot. If you're having pain at night with it and it's not getting any better with any of the treatments you've tried, then you may be dealing with some kind of stress reaction. And that's when you kind of want to talk to your medical provider about that. So some of the treatment options, again, taping can be helpful right away. You want to have that support in your feet and your shoes. You want to back off of activities that are irritating it. Ideally you can rest it up, and so that walking can feel okay. And then you want to start building up your strength. And we do a lot of eccentric strengthening, which is that slow lowering motion right away for those shin muscles and the calf muscles. Working on fixing any imbalances, things like that. Some other things to watch out for, again, you want to make sure you're in the right shoe. Watch your training surface. If you can get to a softer surface, a treadmill is softer than concrete. Blacktop is softer than concrete. Running on grass, gravel, sand. You want to watch out for, ankle sprains and things like that. But that can help to soften that blow when you are landing. But also fixing your form might be a good idea too. If you're someone that constantly gets shin splints, it might be worth looking into to shorten your stride. And so you're not using those shin muscles quite as much. And then making sure you're following your training plan for sure. Again, you don't want to overdo it, because that's when you're going to start to have problems and then you quit, and we don't want you to quit. So watch the training plans too. Some ways that we can treat them, things to look for. Again, because I know a lot of you said you're injured right now, or you've dealt with injuries before, or you're afraid of getting injured. So if you kind of watch out for following your training plan is a big one. Make sure you're adding in some strength. Make sure you are listening to your body and adding in some stretching, foam rolling, things like that. When you feel those kind of nagging aches and pains, get ahead of them before they turn into one of these injuries. And make sure, you're asking questions to help figure out why this happened in the first place, or if it keeps happening, why it keeps happening. and things you can do to get over that. And again, if you have questions, go ahead and throw them below. I'm happy to help in any way that I can. If you have specific questions, you can for sure message me or email me from there. So thanks so much for watching. Happy running.